FM 부산영어방송.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
The political situation here in South Korea continues to spiral as it is expected to hit the peak tomorrow. So the National Assembly will vote on the impeachment again, 5 p.m. tomorrow, with attention being paid over whether ruling party lawmakers will actually participate in the vote this time around. President Yoon Suk-yeol addressed the nation again yesterday, blaming the Democratic Party for trying to cover up their own corruption through this impeachment. So there's no sign of an orderly exit as promised, and we can certainly expect massive demonstrations across the country. This may be a watershed moment for South Korea, and our eyes will be glued on Yeouido. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, December 13th on BEFM 부산영어방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you are all doing well. Some of you may be very tired. It has been another long week, and the weekend is coming up, though. We can look forward to that. However, it might be even more tumultuous in terms of the country's political landscape. President Yoon Suk-yeol faces another impeachment vote due at the National Assembly tomorrow. And he is not stepping down. He has vowed to fight with the opposition, whether it be impeachment or investigation. Yoon issued a public statement yesterday morning, a strongly worded criticism of the opposition Democratic Party, or DP, blaming it for forcing his hand to declare martial law. We'll get into the details of that speech in just a little bit. But, the speech was, in a way, it sounded like a justification of his short-lived martial law imposition and a declaration of political war of sorts against the opposition party. Well, the president has essentially shut down any possibility of stepping down in this, what we've been told, an orderly manner. So on the same day, opposition parties of the parliament introduced a motion to impeach President Yoon for a second time. And the vote is scheduled to take place at 5 p.m. tomorrow. And lawmakers, they're going to have to decide whether to impeach the president or not. And the ruling party chair, Han Dong-hoon, yesterday voiced his support for the impeachment this time around. And he asked lawmakers to follow their own principles in casting their votes. So it seems that we will see lawmakers casting their votes, at least more so than last time, with the official ruling party line, that announcement from the leader, at least for now. We will also probably see tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people around the National Assembly across the country, both for and against the impeachment. So it's going to be a major weekend. I don't know what your plans are, but politically, it's going to be very heated, and the country may be very different come next week. So, of course, we're going to follow everything for you. And today into next week, we'll continue the coverage. Well, for now, though, let's turn to something a little lighter. We discussed dialects, or 사투리, towards the end of the program yesterday, if you remember. So what dialect or accent do you have, or can you do? And maybe it's a particular one that you find like, oh, that's really attractive. I love that dialect, or I love that accent, the way he or she says this. So maybe there are phrases or dialects that you're not commonly used to. Anyhow, 자, 여러분, 내가 할 수 있는 사투리 또는 accent. Oh, what is it? So it doesn't have to be like a Korean one or an English one. For example, 저는 프랑스어 너무 하고 싶은데 너무 못해요. Oh, our producer just gave me the evil eye. Oh, we need a camera. She really gave me the evil eye. She was mouthing something, but I couldn't hear what she said. But I feel like, such a beautiful language, right? I don't know the nuances, though, of French to catch what is considered quote-unquote standard French versus from different vicinities in, France, the provinces. I have no idea, right? Well, 타지역에 있는 분들이나 혹은 외국인한테 꼭 이거는 제가 알려주고 싶다 about my 사투리 or about my accent, something, maybe a phrase, a particular word, 단어 혹은 뭐 표현 같은 거 있잖아요. 꼭 이거는 알아야 된다 하는 것. Send those into BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or 부산영어방송. Hopefully you've already done so. You can subscribe, log in, and chat away with our other waivers. On your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 101. You can also reach me for free on our Cloud Talk channel. Same thing there. Search for BEFM. 부산영어방송 to add us as a friend, and you can send in your messages and also your photos. That's a great way to communicate with me. The ways you can listen to our program, 90.5, 103.3 FM on the radio. That's only if you're in the Busan area. However, like I said, we're streaming live as we speak. As I speak on YouTube right now, you can watch again at your leisure, and we're available on two apps, the BFM app itself and also the Papang app, both of which you can download for free. It's very easy to do. Looking ahead to our Friday morning together, what do we have for you? We have Casey coming in for Foreign Press Highlights, Vasana with What in the World. I love Fridays. It's like Aje Fest in the best way possible. Those two people are like the nicest people, and they're going to bring us interesting news and information. We have two special interviews for you. First up, we're going to be covering martial law and the insurrection charges levied against President Yoon Suk-yeol, the investigation into this, the legal aspect of this, that's coming up first. And then we have, yes, TikTok, Blue Sky. What is this all about? Because the digital world is now abuzz with significant shifts as Blue Sky, which is a decentralized social media platform, surges in popularity. While, for example, X, it's kind of, struggling to retain its users. So we're going to talk about those two very important issues. Both are coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with today's headlines. It is now 7:07. These are today's headlines. Yoon claims martial law declaration act of governance. President Yoon Suk-yeol yesterday defended his failed martial law declaration as an act of governance and refuted insurrection charges, vowing to fight against either impeachment or investigation. Opposition submits second motion to impeach Yoon. A bloc of 6 opposition parties has submitted a second motion to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol yesterday to be introduced to the National Assembly today with a vote scheduled for tomorrow. Parliament passes special counsel probe into Yoon's insurrection charges. The National Assembly yesterday passed a second special counsel bill on President Yoon's martial law insurrection charges, with 5 ruling party lawmakers voting in favor of the bill. Supreme Court confirms 2-year sentence for Cho, who currently heads the minor opposition Rebuilding Korea Party, will also lose his parliamentary seat and his right to run in presidential elections for the next 5 years. Israel-Hamas truce talks gain momentum. Foreign press outlets say Hamas conveyed to nations mediating the talks that it will no longer push for an immediate and complete withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. And these are today's headlines. time for Busan Updates. We have Sue in the studio. Good morning, TGIF.
Yes, happy Friday.
Let me ask you, Sue, I know this is like your first time on air with us, your first week. So how has your first week been? What would you say?
Time flies.
Okay.
Yes, time went so quickly.
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm still nervous, and I'm at the same time I'm enjoying it.
Oh, okay, that's good. Nervousness keeps you on edge. And of course, the enjoyment factor is very important. And let's get to our text topic. So I want to ask you I've never heard you really speak Korean. So I don't know if you have a particular like 사투리 or whatnot. So are you from Busan?
Yes, I was born, so I can get my full-on Busan 사투리.
Oh, really?
Especially at home. And
Let's hear a little bit. Just a little bit. Like, do you have because our topic today, our question is like, is there like a particular like phrase or word that you feel like, hey, if you're new to Busan, if you're a foreigner, or maybe you're not, this is like a very Busan word. Anything like that?
So I would say 밥 먹었나?
밥 먹었나? Our producer's like,
Sorry.
밥 먹었나? 아닌가? I don't know if we can say Sue is purely a Busanite, but okay. I'll let you off the hook for now. We're going to jump into our first update. This is regarding Ha Yun-soo, the superintendent of education in Busan, who was convicted by the Supreme Court, and he was penalized 7 million won. That's the fine. What were the charges for?
Yes, so in 2022, he violated the local election laws. So the charges were for his pre-election activities and spreading false information.
Right.
So to be more specific, he was indicted in November 2022 for influencing the election by establishing his form named Education's Power, 교육의 힘, in 2021 to conduct extensive promotional activities. So the Supreme Court concluded that the forum was used as an election-related organization to support his candidacy for superintendent.
Yes. What else? Anything else?
Additionally, he allegedly falsified academic information in his election booklet by listing a renamed school based on current designation rather than the original name from his time of graduation.
I see.
In the first and second trials, he denied the allegations and appealed this decision, but the court upheld the same ruling, confirming his conviction, and it nullified his election as superintendent.
Right. And so this directly affects Busan, obviously. How's the Busan Education Office responding to the confirmation of the disqualification of Ha Yun-soo?
So there are mixed reactions. Some expressed confusion and concerns about operations until a coming re-election in April next year. And others stated that the outcome of the case was expected because the court already ruled his disqualification.
Okay.
So for now, the deputy superintendent, 부교육감, is serving as the acting head of the education office.
I see. Well, of course, we don't want there to be any like delays or disruptions, right? While, this is education we're talking about. Yes. All right. Well, for now, let's move on and talk about this. This is the 감동나룻길. What is this? This is a pedestrian bridge?
Yes. So in Busan 북구, the district has officially opened the 감동나룻길 River Walk. So it is a pedestrian bridge, 연결보행교, connecting Gupo Station on line of 3 of the railway and 화명 Ecological Park, 화명생태공원.
Our producer wants to know. Because the name of it is like 감동나룻길. And so she says, 여기를 걸으면 감동 맞나요? We don't know. We haven't been on it yet. But maybe the name of it makes me want to go check it out, definitely. So tell us more about this, because I'm sure like it was pretty expensive, right?
Yes. The cost was 16.8 billion won, 168억. And the river walk is a 320 meter long and 3 meter wide pedestrian-only bridge.
And we have the visuals up on our NoTube channel. So, that is very interesting looking. Definitely want to go out there and see 감동을 받을 수 있는지 가봐야 되겠는데요. What else? What else?
Yes, and the design of the bridge was inspired by historical elements of the 구포 감동진 ferry terminal,
Yes.
감동진 나루터, and it reflects the legacy of the ferry and water routes with modern aesthetics.
Well, tell us what this 감동진 나루터. What does this mean exactly?
So I would like to explain about Naruto. So it means a ferry terminal. So it was historically a crossing point for ferries on shallow rivers and streams or coastal areas with slow-moving water.
I see.
So these sites were very important for transportation in the past. But with the construction of bridges, now they are very rare today. And 구포 감동진 나루터 was an important site during the Joseon dynasty. So in 1610, a government warehouse called 감동창 was established to store military supplies. After the liberation of Korea in 1945, it remained as a bustling port throughout the 1950s. But due to the decline of the rice milling industry, the function of the Naruto gradually diminished.
So that's the history of it. So thanks for going over that. Well, go check out that beautiful pedestrian bridge. Well, we have another bit of construction news about a connecting bridge from Gwangan Bridge to Centum City. So what's going on here?
Yes. So the Busan Metropolitan City Construction Headquarters, 부산시설시 건설본부, announced the completion of the installation of the ramp structure connecting the Gwangan Bridge Bexco toll gate with the Centum City underpass.
Okay.
So recently, traffic control was implemented along the Suyong River Road, and once completed, it will allow vehicles to enter the Suyong River Road through the Centum City underpass. And the city plans to finish the construction by the end of next year.
Oh, that's coming up. We definitely look forward to having less congestion in that area. It's always backed up in the Centum City area. All right, lastly, Busan Dongso University will offer a regular course. This is kind of unique, to train comedians.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Busan International Comedy Festival Organizing Committee, Busan 국제 Comedy Festival 조직위원회, and Dongso University will collaborate to make a training program for comedians. So this initiative will focus on developing new content and nurturing the next generation of comedians.
Oh, really? Interesting. So I hear that Im Kwon-taek, the Film Arts College at Dongso University, that this is a part of the plan. So tell us more about this training program. And for those of you who don't know who Im Kwon-taek is, maybe you can let us know.
Yes. So he is a renowned South Korean film director, screenwriter, and producer. So he is a pivotal figure in Korean cinema because he expanded Korea's global reach.
Okay.
And his films 허편제 became the first to attract over 1 million viewers. And 치화선 marked Korea's first entry at the Cannes Film Festival.
Okay.
So his contributions have helped broaden the international presence of Korean cinema. And he had a long-standing connection with Dongso University and the Busan International Film Festival, BIF. So he served as the principal of the Asia Film Academy. It's co-run by both entities.
Okay.
To honor his legacy and create a specialized institution blending theory and practice, the Im Kwon-taek Film Arts College was established in 2008.
I see. So what are they going to be doing, like connecting with this Im Kwon-taek College of Film, right? And then are they going to be showcasing anything?
Yes. So they will prepare high-quality performances to showcase at the 13th Busan International Comedy Festival next year, August.
Oh, okay.
And the program will be incorporated into the university's regular curriculum with selected faculty. CPT. And the course will include comedy, performance planning, production, and training. And students will create actual performance content, receive feedback from professors, and have the opportunity to perform on the stage of the Busan International Comedy Festival.
Wow, they're going to be performing. That's a big kind of stage to take on. So hopefully they'll get lots of good training and tips. Thank you for all the updates. And I hope you have a great weekend. So we'll check in with you on Monday, okay?
You too. Have a good weekend.
All right, everybody. And so this was Sue once again. And let's get into our traffic and weather. Here's your traffic report at 7:19 in the morning. There's congestion on the Dongso overpass from Bumnegor ramp to the old Daegum tollgate. Also, there's some backup on Byeonglo from Suyeong overpass to Suyeong tunnel. As for the weather, it's currently 1 degree Celsius under clear skies. The daytime high will go up to 9 degrees, so it's going to be a little cooler than yesterday. There is a dry weather special alert in place over Busan. Looking at the weather for this weekend, slightly colder tomorrow with an expected low of, are you ready for this? -1 and an afternoon high of just 7 degrees. On Sunday, pretty similar. We're looking at 0 with an expected high of 9. But good news, clear on both days. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's now time for News Digest. We have Haley here. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's our favorite day.
It's Friday.
Yay. Okay, so let's talk about 사투리, accents, anything you want to...
Can I do both Korean and English?
Okay, here we go.
Okay, all right. So Korean, I mean, I don't have a Busan accent, but I have Busan words that I will use with my like standardized accent. Like 공구다.
What is that?
It's like when you, right? It's like when you, so I went to a cafe with my sister. Funnily enough, she has a Busan accent, but she doesn't know the words because she was raised here. But then we all use Seoul accent at home. It's weird. It's
so convoluted.
It's a weird thing. So we were sitting outside. The napkins were going to get blown away in the wind. So I was like, 그걸 좀, 해나, 그걸 좀, it might hurt.
Now you've added her, but yes, okay.
해나, 그거 좀 공가. And she's like, 공구라고. And she's like, 뭐? 아니 공구라고. 공구라고. And she's like,
what are we saying though?
It's when you put something heavy on top of something light to
like weigh it down?
Yeah, weigh it down. Yeah. it's like 공과. 끼우는 거. 아니 공구라고. 공구라고. 바람이 불잖아. 공구라고.
자꾸 화내니까 무서워요.
Okay, and our producer is like, so she's like,
She's having a fit over there.
It's because my accent was standardized and not Busan.
그러면 사투리 하면 어떻게 되는 거예요?
공가라. But I don't think she would have understood it if I had said 공가라. I mean, just anyways.
English.
I love a French accent with English.
Yes.
Also, Southern dialects and their words and their insults are the best. Bless your heart.
Oh,
I mean, it's devastating. You're devastated right now. You
Yes.
just don't know it. Yeah. Bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
All right.
Everything is
I'm done.
bless your heart.
It's all out of my system now.
Yes. All right. Let's get to our top story. Obviously, President Yoon Suk-yeol's public address from yesterday morning. Let's walk through what he said.
Well, let's actually take a listen to what he said first.
저는 오늘 비상계엄에 관한 입장을 밝히기 위해 이 자리에 섰습니다. 지금 야당은 비상계엄 선포가 내란죄에 해당한다며 광란의 칼춤을 추고 있습니다. 정말 그렇습니까? 과연 지금 대한민국에서 국정마비와 국헌문란을 벌이고 있는 세력이 누구입니까? 지난 2년 반 동안 거대 야당은 국민이 뽑은 대통령을 인정하지 않고 끌어내리기 위해 퇴진과 탄핵 선동을 멈추지 않았습니다.
So that was the first, 30 seconds of his speech. Quite emphatic, quite passionate. So this was actually the longest speech we've heard from him at 28 minutes, including the one where he declared martial law and definitely, as I said, the most emphatic. So in short, and we will go through the parts, but the speech was kind of divided into three parts. The first, he blamed the opposition parties. Secondly, North Korean infiltration into government agencies, especially the National Election Commission. And finally, his justification for declaring martial law as a way of governance and therefore not treason or insurrection.
Right, and we just heard a short snippet. There's a lot to unwrap. Let's start with the why. Why he pointed the blame to the opposition or opposition parties.
Right, so this is kind of more of what we've heard on December 3rd when he indeed did declare martial law because according to Yoon, a Democratic Party has introduced 27 special council bills to pump up, which Yoon called unconstitutional and an act of political propaganda. And he also said that this gargantuan, gigantic opposition party is siding with North Korea despite ongoing provocations.
Yes.
And in reference to recently the Democratic Party passing this downsized budget bill for next year, President Yoon called the Democratic Party an anti-state force that's trying to ruin the country.
Excuse me. So President Yoon also explained why martial law forces entered the National Election Commission offices.
Right. So the initial highlight was over the National Assembly. However, we later found out that martial law forces also went and took photos of servers at the National Election Commission or the NEC. And he did go into quite a bit of detail about this. So apparently there was this North Korean hacking attacks on government and judicial institutions earlier this year. This is true. We've covered this. The National Intelligence Service, the spy agency, the NIS, launched a full inspection into government agencies. And the thing is, as a constitutional institution, the NEC, the Election Commission, refused that inspection, apparently.
Okay.
So after a series of events, the Election Commission did agree to a security inspection, or rather consulting. And apparently this allegedly revealed serious flaws into the security system of the Election Commission. According to President Yoon, that they practically had no firewall, 방화벽, or that their passwords were extremely basic, and he gave examples of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the president said that this is why he ordered the defense minister to check the National Election Commission systems. But pundits say that these comments, they kind of give weight to some conservative theories, and some of them may kind of earn the side of conspiracy theories of North Korean infiltration in the general elections, which is where the Democratic Party won this majority.
I see. Well, you know, what you've been kind of, walking us through, serious allegations. What has the Election Commission said about this, though?
Right. So the NEC flat out refuted these allegations. And it stated that a possibility that one may hack into the election system doesn't necessarily correlate to the possibility of election fraud.
Okay.
Because it's not just the NEC systems. There are many other institutional tools and systems available to guarantee the security and verifiability of the country's election management.
Okay.
Also, the NEC further said that raising these strong allegations into election fraud, and that coming from the president, is basically the president self-denying the system that elected him president.
Okay. So that's their stance. And then finally, the president justified the declaration of martial law at length.
Right. Perhaps this was quite the most shocking and one that needs extensive fact-checking, we should say, because President Yoon Suk-yeol emphasized that this martial law imposition, which lasted, in his words, only about 2 hours, was completely different from those of the past. He said that he told the defense minister that it was an urgent measure to let the people know about the present crisis in the form of martial law. And he claims that he only ordered minimal forces without ammunition, and the forces at the National Assembly were only there to keep order, not to dissolve the parliament or prevent anyone from getting in.
Huh.
Some people who watched things unfold that night might argue otherwise.
Okay.
And this is also in contrast to what some top generals have testified in Parliament in terms of what the president said, giving orders to allegedly drag out some lawmakers if necessary. And we did see martial law soldiers break down windows to enter the parliament. President Yoon also said that this declaration of martial law was an act of governance, and it was like granting immunity and diplomatic rights.
Ah, okay. So that's kind of a breaking down of what he said.
So we're actually going to fact check this with Professor Song Se-ryun in hour number 2.
Yes. So stay tuned for that. First of 2 special interviews. And so we are dealing with this unprecedented situation of an investigation and even a raid into the sitting president. So the Yongsan presidential office was under a raid or 압수수색 earlier this week. But the police actually couldn't get in. And so this raises the question of whether the presidential office, is it allowed to stop a raid?
Kind of. It's because
okay.
we are under special circumstances for special facilities. So under the Criminal Procedures Act, 형사소송법 Article 111, basically to paraphrase, that items or documents that are owned or kept by public officials that pertain to official secrets or state interests, the law enforcement cannot seize these articles without the consent of that institution in question.
Yes.
However, these institutions can only refuse consent when these articles pertain to, once again, important interests of the state.
Yes.
So basically, it kind of seems like they're running around in circles, but you can, or the presidential office, can refuse a raid if items being seized, they have to do with state secrets or other important matters. Of course, the presidential office, such a location of important secret state matters.
Yes.
So the court in the warrant, it did stipulate to secure the documents first through a temporary and voluntary submission, 제출, as opposed to what we would call a full-out search and seizure. So rather than a raid-style search, this is why that the presidential officials handed over documents, but it seems that they were not full documents and selective. So we'll have to see moving forward.
All right. So that is on the front of, once again, what's going on, what happened with the martial law declaration and the aftermath. But we also have to talk about this story. It's been going on for some years. The Supreme Court confirmed the prison sentence for 조국.
It's been going on for 5 years, but the Supreme Court yesterday finalized the 2-year prison sentence for 조국, who also heads the Rebuilding Korea Party.
Yes.
Once again, this is a conclusion to this 5-year-long case involving academic fraud for his 2 children and an unlawful interference of a government inspection regarding this.
Yes.
So the top court found 조국 guilty of using his position and influence for academic favors, including getting his children into top universities. And he was ordered to forfeit 6 million won. But political ramifications are much, much bigger because he has then also lost his position as a representative to the National Assembly, and he cannot run for office for the next 5 years. And he also has to step down from the chair of the Rebuilding Korea Party.
So what happens to his parliamentary seat then?
So the thing is, because he's not a direct representative, elected representative for a district. He's a proportional representative, so there isn't going to be an election to fill his seat. Rather, the next person in succession for the party will take the seat. But then this is a little bit of a complicated process, going from the courts to the National Assembly to the Election Commission. And 조국 said yesterday in a press conference that he has requested the process be expedited. And then this is a larger issue for the party because the party's Korean name is 조국 혁신당, which bears his name. So for the party to lose that symbolic top head of the party, they're going to have to go through a lot of reforms or elections to elect the next party head.
Yes.
And then another problem is with the impeachment vote tomorrow because the prosecution has requested that he appear for his imprisonment today. He's trying to defer that to Monday. But if his seat isn't filled, by tomorrow, the opposition's pro-impeachment vote goes down from 192 to 191.
Oh.
So that means it requires one more lawmaker from the People Power Party to kind of, well, we don't know what the party line is yet,
Right.
but to at least vote in favor of impeachment.
All right. Well, that was a lot to unfold, but thank you for going over all the details. And we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right. It is time for our first song break. So here it is. This is 제주도의 푸른 밤 by 성시경.
떠나요 둘이서 모든 걸 훌훌 버리고 제주도 푸른 밤 그 별 아래 이제는 더 이상 얽매이긴 우린 싫어요 신문에 TV에 월급 봉투에 아파트 담벼락보다는 바다를 볼 수 있는 창문이 좋아요 긴 강바늘 구고 감귤도 우리 둘이 가꿔봐요 정말로 그대가 외롭다고 느껴진다면 떠나요 제주도 푸른 밤 하늘 아래로 떠나요 둘이서 힘들 게 별로 없어요 제주도 푸른 밤 그 별 아래 그동안 우리는 오랫동안 지쳤잖아요 술집에 카페에 많은 사람에 도시의 침묵보다는 바다의 속삭임이 좋아요 신혼부부 밀려와 똑같은 사진 찍기 구경하며 정말로 그대가 재미없다 느껴진다면 떠나요 제주도 푸름에가 살고 있는 곳
All right, listeners, welcome back to our program. So we've been talking about, for our text topic, what type of dialect or accent you really like, or maybe that you're good at. That's another way of putting it too. Oh, I wish I could do my... I see some messages regarding the Valley Girl accent. I'll do that in hour number 2. But I want to get to... Where did it go? I'm looking for Taejin's message because he had a lengthy one, and we were hoping 태진 웨이버가 직접 이거를 해주시면 좋은데 제가 한번 볼까요? I'm a little scared, but okay. 자, 태진 웨이버가 보낸 글입니다. 자, 할머니께서 이렇게 얘기를 했대요. 자, 갑니다. Ready? Here we go. 이제 날이 추워가지고 돗바 잘 입고 목 따뜻하게 에리 올리가 손은 보고튼에 넣고 댕기라. 자, 그리고 붕어빵 사먹고 줄이 받아온나. Was that Busan-ish? Kind of? Okay, so I guess 민망한 거는 제 몫이죠. 죄송합니다. 사과드립니다. I have no idea what that was though. I need a translation. So if somebody can translate what I just said, 네, 다시 그대로 읽어요? 표준말로요? Like the way? Okay. 표준말로는 이제 날이 추워지갖고 돗바 잘 입고 목 따뜻하게 예리 올리가 손은 보거튼에 넣고 댕기라. 붕어빵 사 묻고 줄이 받아온나 is the message. What does it mean? I need translation. So if someone can translate that and then send that in, I would greatly appreciate it. But we got to get to Kat's pick for right now. For today's Kat's pick, we have Time Magazine's Person of the Year for 2024 from NBC News.
We are back with the exclusive reveal of the Time 2024 Person of the Year. For the past 97 years, Time has selected the man, woman, group, or concept that's had the most influence on the world, for better or for worse. A quick reminder, these were the 5 finalists here in no particular order: Vice President Kamala Harris, the Princess of Wales, Elon Musk, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and President-elect Donald Trump. And here to make the announcement, Times editor-in-chief Sam Jacobs. Oh, there they go.
There you go.
So who is it going to be?
The person of the year who, for better or for worse, had the most influence on the news in 2024 is Donald Trump.
Okay, there it is. Donald Trump, 2024 Person of the Year. I mean, look, often the person who wins the U.S. presidential election does end up on the cover of this magazine. Tell us about this choice.
This is someone who made a historic comeback, who reshaped the American presidency, and who's reordering American politics. It's hard to argue with the fact that the person who's moving into the Oval Office is the most influential person in the news.
Was this a matter of heated debate inside the Time newsroom? I mean, you had some interesting contenders who you could have made an argument for.
Absolutely. And when you come down to try to pick the sort of, 8 billion people on the planet and who are the 5 billion people, or the 5 people who had the most influence on the news, there's always a hot debate. Although I have to admit that this year was an easier decision than in years past.
Yeah, no question. Your reporters talked to Donald Trump both before, in the springtime,
right,
and then after the election. Was there a difference that you noticed in between those two interviews?
I think Time has spent more time on the record with the president-elect this year than any news organization. And what we saw from when we spoke to him in the spring to now is someone who's maybe a little lower volume, a little more subdued. For Donald Trump, perhaps a little bit reflective. He told us that it's sad, actually, that the campaign is over. This is someone who loves to be in a fight. Now I think he's thinking about what his next chapter is, but he's also looking back and realizing that this is the beginning of the end for him in his role in American politics.
So once again, that was their pick. And they preface this for saying for better or for worse. So I'm not going to comment either which way because it was not my selection. But definitely, he is one of the most influential people in the world. This was Kat's pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
We have Casey in the studio, a.k.a. my cilantro man.
That's right.
for Press Highlights.
That's right.
Yes.
I just harvested some yesterday.
I know. Casey always sends me photos of his beautiful cilantro growing. Mine have all died, by the way.
I'm not rubbing it in. I'm not.
고수 다 죽었어요. 근데 케이씨님은 너무 잘 키우더라고요.
What I want to inspire you is I want to be your cilantro person of the year.
For
So
2024.
for better or worse.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
like if
yes.
I can do it, you can do it.
Oh, I can do it.
Yes,
화이팅.
that's right.
So let's talk about accents.
Oh, okay, cool. Actually, can I ask you, because I
Yes.
don't know what I've often been told that my go-to Korean accent is very Busan.
Okay, say it.
And I had to use it. Or I'll say what I said this morning.
What did you say?
I also don't know if it's correct.
Okay.
Have you ever told somebody that their brake light is out? You know
In
what I
Korean?
mean? Just in general.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so
Yes.
there was a lady driving in front of me this morning on the way here, just 30 minutes ago. Sorry if I scared you. So I pulled in front of her or next to her, and
And said?
I waved and I said, waited till her window came down, and I said, what did I say?
What did you say?
I'll back up a little because I was
Okay.
a little. 뒤에 불 안 켜요.
That's what you said?
That's what I said, and I was like, does that make any sense? And she looked
뒤에
at
불 안 켜요.
yeah, and then she was
that's
like,
so cute.
she was like.
She's like, this early in the morning, who is this strange foreign man telling me to roll down the window?
So I said it again, and I pointed to my back light because I ride a motorcycle, which you need brake lights for.
Yes.
Always check. So I was like, so I pointed to the back, and
You're
I was
like, this
yeah,
is out.
뒤에 불 안 켜요.
안 들어와요. Isn't it 안 들어와요?
I don't know. I didn't know what to say.
But you know what? You're such a sweet person. I was trying to applaud you, but
Well,
my
you know what my reward was? In very Busan fashion, the person behind me honked at me to move.
As you were trying to
Yeah, the light
They're
changed
like,
for like
honk, move.
The light changed for like a half a
That is so
second, and somebody was like,
Busanite.
"Brrrt." I was like, okay, well, there you go.
Now I know. That's going to stay with me all day. We love you.
Oh,
People are loving it.
so is that the accent? Does that sound Busan-ish?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay, no.
전혀.
Okay, because people often say that. I'm like, I don't know.
뒤에 불 안 들어온대.
Now that's
Oh, no? Okay.
no. 안
We're
돼요.
getting no's. Okay, let's jump into our segment.
Okay, I apologize.
We're getting no. 안 되겠대요.
알겠습니다.
What are we talking about today?
Oh, well, we're going to talk about Korea because this is
Yes.
Foreign Press Highlights. And first I want to talk about, because you can imagine a lot of the news was centering around, the political situation here. But I want to start with one story that I noticed. I was like, oh, this is not about that exactly.
That story, yeah.
So it's all about 회식. Have you ever had the pleasure of attending 회식?
Oh, 회식, yes. Company dinners.
Would you call it
lunches.
pleasure?
You know what? For our company, yes. You know why? We do it at lunch.
That was good. That was good. That was a very quick. Yes,
Lunch is good.
In this situation, yes.
Lunch is good.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's key. That's a big part of it. What the
Yes.
time of day. Mm-hmm. So
Why do you ask?
Well, the headline was from Reuters. South Korea's fading nightlife signals shift in hard drinking culture. I'll give you a bit from it, word
okay.
for word. That change has been driven by corporate Korea slowing down on 회식, or after work drinking bouts. Notice food is not the key in the translation.
But no, I love the drinking bouts. Like
yes.
fighters.
Yes,
Right?
I mean, it's like you got to
Yeah.
get ready. Put your gloves on. The emergence of an emboldened class of younger female workers who are refusing to be a part of these drunken sessions.
Oh my gosh.
And a general reluctance of consumers to open their wallets due to higher interest rates and lingering inflation. There's a whole lot of stuff in there.
Wow.
One paragraph, right? And they said in this article, this has had an effect on all sorts of late night businesses. Care to guess which ones?
I would think like the nightlife businesses like 노래방s.
Yep, that was in there.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was a big part of the article.
Right. And any type of like place that has, I don't know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. I was like,
Right.
so what do people do?
Yeah, what do
Okay.
people do? Because like, we I don't know.
We're not late night people.
We're homebodies, right?
Yeah,
right?
you wake up earlier than I do.
Yeah, and then Michael Kim Waver says company dinner는 업무의 연장이죠. Like it's a continuation. That's been the culture in Korea. And by the way, for some companies that continues. Other companies are evolving though. Yes.
Yeah, but they do give like stats about it.
Yes.
I'll get to that in a second. But all right, one of the businesses they feature heavily in this article is what they call a pub.
Pub.
Yeah, which this is
It's
a
so
British, right? And
we don't call it a pub. Yeah.
Right. And
I refuse.
I imagine British readers, when they're reading, Reuters, they're like, oh, they've got pubs in Korea, do they?
No.
No, it's not quite the same.
Drinking places.
Yeah. So the pub they feature is owned by somebody named Jun Jong-suk, who's 77, had a shop, I should say, in Nokdu Street. She says, it's not what it used to be. People used to queue. You familiar with what that means?
Line up.
There you go.
So British.
So they queue at the end of the day with, waiting for Korean mung bean pancakes, which doesn't sound as good in English.
Mung bean. It sounds so bad.
Bindae-deok, right? Yeah.
빈대떡. 떡.
Sorry.
Yes.
죄송합니다. And also shots of the fiery local rice wine makgeolli. I wouldn't call that fiery. That's smooth in my opinion, but okay, whatever.
Okay.
They're trying to translate. I got it.
Yes.
But she says the more common sight now is half-empty pubs, bars along the neon-lit alley and streets. And this is a telling sign of a sharp shift in South Korea's once notorious drinking culture.
Yes.
According to the owner, June, I don't see anyone drunk anymore, which I was like, oh, I haven't been out at night in a while, but I can't imagine not seeing that.
We can't speak on behalf of anybody yet,
right, but-
because we don't go out.
No, but
Yes.
when I did, I can't imagine being out late at night and not seeing people drunk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Big change. And she says the streets here used to be packed. That's long gone. She kind of looked over these empty hallway that used to have people playing drinking games, such as the one featured on APT, the latest K-pop.
Oh my God! Oh, sorry. Did I yell?
Am I supposed to know this?
아파트?
By Rose?
Rosé. Oh,
Ro-
어머, 저 모르는 사람이에요. I don't know who this person is.
죄송합니다.
Did he literally said APT by Rose?
I was reading it as a reader of Reuters might interpret
아파트,
it.
the latest K-pop hit from Rosé.
Right. I knew that.
Yes.
Come on,
okay.
I knew that.
Okay. So, yes, you should know that song.
Yeah, of course I know that song. And
all
And the
right.
drinking games feature. Do you know what the video features? The drinking.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, me too. So, for June, this
Yes.
slower consumption amid the changing drinking culture means letting go of her place. She's had it since 1993, but she's trying to actually sell it and hasn't gotten any offers since 2022.
So this is 2022.
So this has been a while.
That's serious.
And they say this consumption downturn is dealing a major blow to a lot of second round places. Translation?
2차.
There you go. Nice.
저 2차. So,
I can't-
so excited thinking about it.
Yeah, right?
Even though I don't go.
I know.
Right.
Vicariously, we live through
Yes. 저도 1차만 가요. 네.
you. 2차. 좋아요.
No. Yes. So what other kind of business are affected?
Let's get to that. Yes. So
Yes.
Noribongs, you called it.
Yes.
Another thing they mentioned was retail rents and mom and pop pubs. So that's what the focus is on.
Mom and pop pubs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess June's would fit that category.
Yes. Yes.
And basically they said the elevated borrowing costs are causing problems for consumers in general. The fast disappearing mom and pop beer halls like June's point to a shift in South Korea's hard drinking culture. But it also suggests more other enduring forces are at play besides just the financial aspect.
Oh, okay.
And they say Korea's not alone. Do you care to guess what other country is facing similar challenges?
It has to be a neighboring, like, Asian country.
Exactly. They say Japan, for example,
okay.
there's been a rise of like the health-conscious younger generation.
True.
Big reason. Increased health awareness, flexible working style brought about by the pandemic led to big changes in the workplace that have kind of stuck. But also there's specific stuff going on here in Korea too. There was a 2007 ruling by the Seoul High Court that deemed it an offense to force subordinates to drink alcohol, made it illegal basically.
Yes.
And also, they mention again, an increasing number of women have started to complain about hueshik. It takes away time from childcare, and also there's a risk of sexual harassment. They quote Haley Kim, who's a 40-year-old office worker at an auto parts company. She says the fading of the after-work meal and drinks. She's the one who says meal. Everybody else says drinks. The reason it's disappearing is the growing
Why?
presence of younger and more outspoken women colleagues.
But I want to hear
Go ahead.
Ms. Kim's pattern. She said there used to be a pattern.
All right, here we go.
This is the highlight. Okay,
Yes.
listen to this.
There used to be a pattern,
Okay,
starting
pattern.
with grilled pork, then a icha, or a second round, at a beer place, followed by holding hands and singing at a noribong.
But this is so true.
We definitely don't do that
Yes.
anymore. Just stop at the barbecue. Thank God.
I think a lot of people feel this way, whether you're male or female, though.
I was going to ask.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of male colleagues of mine that have been a part of this,
Right.
they're like, oh man, I'm so happy I don't have to do that anymore.
Right. It's not just along gender lines, but maybe more so for certain
I'm
women.
sure there's a certain
Yes.
amount of pressure. It could be you might be able to get away with more if you're one
Yes.
gender or the other in those situations.
So, what else has been happening on this front?
They also say, Kim actually, the worker said that there was the introduction of the anti-graft law in 2016.
Yes.
That capped the meal expenses. And the idea was to weed out corruption for public officials in that case. But again, they point to this article saying that basically the combination of women women workers and government have been a big part of the change in drinking culture. They say alcohol consumption in South Korea has dropped 12% from a 2015 peak. Okay, what does that mean? This is the second fastest rate of decline among the OECD.
That's significant.
Right, which is really surprising. And they said, an index measuring the sales of local eateries, sales at local eateries was at a record low last year. The number of noribangs decreased to 25,990 as of July this year from...
All right.
Yeah, anyway, numbers.
But definitely...
You got me.
we get you. We were listening to every word. Very interesting. But we're going to have to call it a wrap for today's segment. I know. It was such an interesting conversation we had. We will
As always.
check in with you next week.
Have a great weekend.
But hey, you have one last thing to do. You got to introduce our last song. It's on the board.
Okay, listeners, our next song is 아파트 by Rosé featuring Bruno Mars.
Kissy face, sent to your phone, but I'm trying to kiss your lips for real. Red hearts, that's what I'm on, yeah. Come give me something I can feel. Don't you want me like I want you, baby? Don't you need me like I need you now? Sleep tomorrow, but tonight go crazy. All you gotta do is just meet me at the 아파트.
It's whatever you like. Turn this opposite into a club. I'm talking drink, dance, smoke, freak, party all night. Come back, girl, what's up? Don't you want me like I want you, baby? Don't you need me like I need you now? Sleep tomorrow, but tonight go crazy. All you gotta do is just meet me at the
Hey, so now you know the game. Are you ready? 'Cause I'm coming to get you. Hold on, I'm on my way. Yeah, I'm on my way. Hold on, I'm on my way. Yeah, I'm on my way.
안전. 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
We are
the firefighter duo.
Winter is so dry. Let's prevent fire by keeping these 3 rules. If you take caution, you can prevent a fire.
The number one cause of fire in winter are electric blankets. Take special caution with highly flammable materials such as memory foam, toppers, and bedding.
Number 2, having too many appliances on the power outlet is dangerous. Always unplug all the appliances that you're not currently using.
Number 3, check the heater is off before leaving the house. Leaving it on for an extended period of time can cause a fire.
Let's all take part in preventing fire and have warm and safe winter this year.
Tune into BEFM 부산영어방송 for an emergency broadcast.
This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산영어방송.
지역 경제가 힘차게 출발합니다. 기업들이 고객을 향해 더 빨리 가려면 방송 광고라는 엑셀을 밟으세요. 경제도 기업도 더 힘차게 달려가니까요. 방송 광고의 작은 힘, 경제의 큰 힘입니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded. What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock, and this is News Highlights. Yoon claims martial law declaration act of governance. President Yoon Suk-yeol yesterday defended his failed martial law declaration as an act of governance and refuted insurrection charges, vowing to fight against either impeachment or investigation. Yoon accused the opposition of obstructing the government with impeachment efforts and cuts in necessary budgets planned for next year, saying that it is performing a frenzied sword dance. The main opposition, Democratic Party, called the address extremely delusional and tantamount to declaring war on the people. Opposition submits a second motion to impeach Yoon. A bloc of 6 opposition parties has submitted a second motion to impeach President Yoon yesterday to be introduced to the National Assembly today with a vote tomorrow. The National Assembly will summon cabinet members, including the Prime Minister, likely to question them about the president's speech yesterday. In the meantime, a rally was held in front of the presidential residence in Hannam-dong in Seoul, with some protesters clashing with the police, who restricted their march to clear traffic. Parliament passes special counsel probe into Yoon's insurrection charges. The National Assembly yesterday passed a second special counsel bill on President Yoon Suk-yeol's martial law insurrection charges, with 5 ruling party lawmakers voting in favor of the bill. The special counsel probe bill on Yoon passed in a 195 to 86 vote, with 2 abstentions, with 5 People Power Party or PPP lawmakers going against the official party position. The parliament also passed a special counsel probe into First Lady Kim Gun-hee on its 4th attempt. 4 PPP lawmakers voted in favor of this bill. Supreme Court confirms 2-year sentence for Cho Guk. The Supreme Court yesterday finalized a 2-year prison term for minor party leader Cho Guk, convicted of academic fraud involving his children and unlawful interference with a government inspection. Cho, who currently heads the minor opposition Rebuilding Korea Party, will also lose his parliamentary seat and his right to run in presidential elections for the next 5 years. Shortly after the sentence was announced, Cho said he humbly accepts the court's decision. Israel-Hamas truce talks gain momentum. Ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas are gaining momentum after Hamas made major concessions. Foreign press outlets say Hamas conveyed to nations mediating the talks that it will no longer push for an immediate and complete withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. Hamas also handed over a list of hostages to these mediatory nations for the first time since the brief ceasefire last November. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, who is visiting the region, said that a ceasefire can happen. And this was News Highlights. Lively discussion off air, but it's time for issue Wagle. Haley's back.
Lively discussion to be had right now.
Okay, so some of the messages that we've been having regarding the dialects and the accents and whatnot, such a lively conversation. And so some of them, we have Michael who says, 맞나, 상대방 의견을 잘 듣고 있다고 맞장구 쳐주는 맞나.
맞나.
스윗하게?
It has to be sweet.
웃으면서 맞나.
Can we just
she's like, do it sweet. I'm like, I just take direction from your producer. She's like the director.
Stay here and do nothing. Yeah.
맞나. Okay. What else? And then 고수 says, 상대방에게 동의를 구하는 말. 그자.
그자.
Is that right?
Okay.
그자.
The look of derision. It's very, very.
The look of, yes. I have. Did you read? I got to read one more.
Okay.
I am going to take the time because I can. I have the mic. So Anna on our Kakao Talk says, 응다는 싫어입니다. 싫다는 뜻이래요. 응이라고 알고 실수했다는 대학생 때 남학생이 부산 여학생에게 데이트를 하자고 했는데요. 여학생이 다 하고 답했는데 남학생이 너무 좋아해서 여학생이 그게 아니라고 말을 못하고 사귀었대요. Is this you? It sounds like your story.
Anna님.
Lost in translation. Love
Interesting.
prevails. I love that. Yes. Well, we got to get into our Waggle stories.
We do.
Yes. First story is for investors. So the U.S. stock market has entered a new era of sorts. So we're talking about the NASDAQ hitting 20,000.
A little bit of ka-ching if you've invested earlier on. So this is from Wednesday local time in the States. The NASDAQ, which is the index that's heavily on the tech side.
Yes.
It has climbed actually past 20,000 for the first time ever. So this is at the close of market on Wednesday. NASDAQ jumped by 347.65 points to 23,490. Once again, for the first time ever. And this is all in thanks to big tech.
Yes.
In particular, Tesla. Tesla stocks rose by more than 5%. That was an all-time high. Other major tech companies, including NVIDIA, jumping by over 3%, Amazon 2.3%, Microsoft 1.28%. Interestingly, IBM and Apple, they actually saw slight falls.
Yes.
So this is what's called a bull market. When the market goes up, imagine, that Wall Street bull, its horn going up. So this is attributed to apparently the recent inflation data.
Yes.
According to the U.S. Labor Department, the U.S. Consumer Price Index, the CPI, major gauge of inflation, rose by 2.7% in November compared to the year earlier. And this is actually pretty contained. It's fairly contained. So that's been raising expectations that the Federal Reserve may lower the benchmark interest rate in a meeting that's scheduled for next week.
Okay.
By the way, with this NASDAQ 20,000 mark, Elon Musk becomes, well, he's already the richest man on the planet, but the richest man.
The richest man? Is that a title?
Man. It's now his title.
Okay.
So he's now the first person on the planet with a net worth of more than $400 billion. I don't know how many zeros that is, but that is 570 trillion won.
That is many more than what we have.
That is, I don't know. I'm just baffled.
Yes.
I've lost my ability to speak.
We're going to move on, though, and talk about the upcoming and ongoing demonstrations across the country. They're expected with these protests from 8 years ago, though. Some people, like in the past, they have brought their children to these events, and one mom has done something a little extra to make these demonstrations, I guess you could say, family-friendly.
Right. So in this bit of cruel irony, like with 8 years ago, these protests are taking place in the winter and in the freezing cold in some areas. So it's hard for anyone and everyone, especially children, babies, if their parents are bringing them to the rallies.
Yes.
However, if you are going this Saturday to the rally in Seoul, there's apparently going to be a bus for children and their guardians. So this is from social media. One user who goes by the name Chiu Mom says that she has chartered a bus for this particular event for babies, kids, and their guardians for tomorrow, the 14th. So she writes she actually went last week and brought her baby, presumably Chiu, who's 16 months old. It was far too cold. There really wasn't any place to change the baby's diapers. So she and the baby just kind of came back fairly quickly. And she wanted to go this week too, but was contemplating given the circumstances. However, decided she apparently had some money saved up because she was upcoming 500th day anniversary, 500일, to take a trip. But she said with the times being what they are, she says there's really no point in going abroad or taking a trip. So she's going to use the money to have this place so babies can keep warm and also parents can change their diapers.
Yes.
She's also apparently made an open chat room where parents are sharing tips on bringing children to these rallies, including utilizing noise-canceling headphones, what warmers to use for food, and kind of parking information as well.
Yes. And once again, because we're talking about peaceful protests going on and the fact that she's going this far, not just for herself, but for other parents. Well, what sets these apart, like I just said, foreign press outlets, they've been focusing on what I just said about the whole non-violent protests. And music, this time around, music has really been key.
Absolutely. And, depending on how old you are, I suppose, and what era you may be from.
Yes.
There are some quintessential protest songs. In Korean, they're called 민중가요. So in the 80s, during the pro-democracy protests, starting with Gwangju on to 1987, you had songs like 임을 위한 행진곡, which is Marching for Our Beloved. This is one of the most famous songs, and one of the most famous lines there say, "We are marching on, keep faith and follow us. 앞서서 나가니 산자여 따르라."
Yes.
And then also another song, 아침 이슬, Morning Dew by Yang Hyun. So these kind of have these really deep, profound lyrics and that kind of tug at the heartstrings. Nowadays, fast forward, 40 years, 45 years? K-pop. They're very
definitely,
bubbly. They're very hip. They're very, easy to dance to. So the demonstrations have taken on, and we've covered multiple times, a K-pop concert like atmosphere. 아파트 by Rosé.
Not
and
APT.
also
yes.
아파트 by 윤수일, the original.
Yes.
Supernova and 다시 만난 세계, Into the New World by Girls' Generation. These are very common tracks at protests. 다만세, that's what Into the New World shortens to. In particular, it has been and once again is becoming incredibly popular. Also, listenership of 다만세 on the app Melon has increased by 23 points in the week of December 3rd through the 9th. This is a Girls' Generation's debut song.
From years ago.
From a decade and a half ago.
Right.
17 years ago, actually. And their latest track, they released the latest track, was it last year, a couple of years ago? So this is apparently unprecedented, according to industry insiders.
Yes.
They say, without any like new releases from the artist or any kind of move to raise this up the charts, it's definitely been affected by what's been going on outside the music industry, aka the protests. So that particular song, Into the New World, it gained traction initially as a protest song in 2016 at the Ewha Women's University protests against their school president, and kind of during like the women's rights movements and gender equality movements through the years.
Yes.
The lyrics, because they're about overcoming uncertainties and pushing together into a new world. And then also, although, K-pop is seeing huge popularity in these protests,
sure,
it's been really interesting because there are two separate generations. The older democracy movement generation,
right,
40s and older, and kind of younger people in their teens, through their 30s. They are bridging the intergenerational gap through music.
Yes.
Protest organizers apparently received several requests from the younger generation to play older music, so older participants wouldn't feel left out. And then the older participants asking to keep playing the K-pop songs so they can bring more people in there.
Yes.
And there are, I think you saw that on our YouTube, playlists circulating online. Kind of how when there's a K-pop concert, people will post playlists of what songs are going to be sung during this concert, so people can learn the lyrics and do that daechang, the singing out loud. So these are kind of going on around online outlets as well.
Yes. Well, we're going to call it a wrap for the Wagle segment. And of course, thank you for everything this week. And we'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you, Haley.
Have a fantastic weekend.
All right, now it's back to you, the listeners, for our updated traffic and weather. First up, there's an accident to report on Hwangryongdaero from Hwangryong Tunnel to Daeyeon direction, right outside the tunnel. So please be aware of this. There's congestion on Chungnyeoldaero from Minam intersection to Daesung intersection. Also backed up on Jungangdaero from Sojeongcheon intersection to Pugok intersection. There's also a lot of backup on Gwangan Bridge, the top portion of that bridge. As for the weather, it's currently 1 degree Celsius under clear skies. It's going to go up to just 9 today. That dry weather special alert still in place over Busan. Looking ahead to tomorrow and Sunday, it's going to be slightly colder. Tomorrow, we're looking at a low of -1, a high of 7. And then on Sunday, a low of 0 and a high of 9. Once again, though, clear skies today, actually tomorrow, and on Sunday. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Take My Breath by The Weeknd.
I saw the fire in your eyes. I saw the fire when I look into your eyes. You tell me things you wanna try. I know temptation is the devil in disguise. You risk it all to feel alive. Yeah. You're offering yourself to me like sacrifice. You said you do this all the time. Tell me you love me if I bring you to the light. It's like a dream when she feels with me. She loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath away. Nobody does it better, babe. Bring me closer, want me to hold
hold on to your time. You pull me close, I feel the heat between your thighs. You're way too young to end your life. Girl, I don't wanna be the one who pays the price. Ooh, it's like a dream. What she feels with me, she loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath away. Nobody does it better, babe. Bring me close to heaven, babe. Take my breath. Oh. And I'm serious. Take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath away. Nobody does it better, babe. Bring me close to heaven, babe. Take my breath take my breath. Nobody does it better, babe. Bring me close to heaven, babe. Take my breath.
도대체 2시간짜리 내란이라는 것이 있습니까? 질서 유지를 위해 소수의 병력을 잠시 투입한 것이 폭동이란 말입니까? 그 길밖에 없다고 판단해서 내린 대통령의 헌법적 결단이자 통치 행위가 어떻게 내란이 될 수 있습니까? 대통령의 비상계엄 선포권 행사는 사명권 행사, 외교권 행사와 같은 사법심사의 대상이 되지 않는 통치 행위입니다.
As you just heard, that snippet, that clip of President Yoon Suk-yeol, his latest address to the nation, that actually casts a lot more questions, though. He justified his declaration of martial law on December 3rd as an act of governance, and that it cannot be, qualified or actually classified as insurrection. That's his take. So let's find out more about this, the legal aspect of all that was said. We have invited back to the airwaves Professor Song Se-ryun, who is a professor of law at Kyunghee University. So he's joining us. Hi, good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Yes. First, I think we need a working definition, a textbook definition of what exactly 내란, in English, insurrection or treason. What does this mean in the legal sphere?
Well, insurrection is governed by the Criminal Act, Article 87 to be exact. It says any person who creates a violence for purpose of overthrowing the national power in Korea or subverting the Constitution can be punished quite severely, actually. It is the attached penalties from death penalty, life in prison, and imprisonment not less than 5 years.
Indeed. And so in your legal opinion, the grounds for insurrection, are they difficult to be reached?
Well, if you look at the text, you have several elements. One is you got to have an intent to create violence and overthrow the government. And there's an action. What kind of actions has been taken in terms of violence? So I think what president is thinking about is, well, it's only 2 hours. Nobody got hurt. So is it an insurrection? And there's an intent. I think he's deliberately, I think one of the purpose of his press conference is to say that, well, my intention was to give a warning shot, not to create a violence. So I think already he's preparing for his defense in the constitutional court, if you look at it that way. But there are many evidences. The evidence that comes out that his intention was to subvert the constitutional institution and National Assembly by locking up lawmakers in one place or another. So
yes.
The investigation has to make sure that that element of intention is satisfied. And then they'll look at 2 hours, no violence. But was there a no violence or was there a violence intended but not taken place? So what do you do with that?
Yes, yes.
I think that's what the president is trying to see, along with the fact that the Constitutional Court is not quite there yet in terms of numbers. They only have 6 people instead of normal en banc, 9 justices.
But then if we go back to the intent, the mens rea, the intent behind committing said act. So, he claims that there was like little or no violence at all. But even if there was intent, could it still be proven, for grounds for insurrection?
Well, in terms of intent, at first, when he said it was just for the warning shot, including myself, a lot of people thought that, well, that was a very stupid way of going about it.
Yes.
But then there were some sworn testimonies saying that the president actually called the special warfare commander to say that, well, drag him out.
Yes.
And that specifically goes to the overthrow of the government because the Constitution says that in time of martial law, the National Assembly has the check and balance power and they're not to be touched. So that action of trying to exclude the National Assembly, I think, is a very, very strong evidence that he would try to overthrow or disrupt the constitutional order in Korea.
Yes, yes. So who ultimately decides whether this is considered an act of insurrection?
Well, the insurrection is governed by, again, the Criminal Act, so will be summoned to do that. I think that this is like any other crimes that president has to be subjected to. Of course, he has immunity, but the insurrection is an exception to that immunity. So that's why there are active investigations going on by the police and the prosecutors and CIO and the military police as well.
Well, President Yoon said that it is also, of the many things he said, within the president's power to declare martial law. Therefore, it is not subject to judicial rule. So what's your legal take on this? What does the Constitution say?
Well, that sounds like what Trump would say. But, President acts and performs the discharges duty under the Constitution. Martial law is governed by the Constitution, and his actions has to be reviewed by the courts. If it's a legitimate martial law situation, probably it will be delayed until after the martial law situation is lifted. But at this point, that's where we are. The martial law has been lifted.
Yes.
And the president's actions are reviewable by the courts.
Well, another justification that the president gave yesterday is that this martial law imposition, like you already said, Professor, lasted only or just, 2 hours or under 2 hours, 155 minutes to be specific. And therefore, it cannot really be deemed insurrection. So, does the duration matter?
Well, if you look at the intent and the action in terms of violence, what kind of violence did he intend it did take place? This is kind of a ambiguous area where the Constitutional Court would look into it and say whether there was a violence or violence equivalent taking place. I think that they will look at what kind of actions the military has taken.
Yes.
And what kind of orders has been given, what kind of communications has taken place. So they might as well decide that even though nobody got killed. No act of violence has taken place, but it was averted, but the intention was there and the actions were taken. Maybe there was some preparation taking place. So they might as well say that this is within the purview of the insurrection because some actions has been taken.
Yes.
So I don't think they'll look at particularly the body counts, but in terms of what kind of actions they did take
sure.
By the order of or the wording of the president.
Yes. For a final question for you today, Professor, though, President Yoon also said that he would face any impeachment charges or investigation basically head on. So how might this play out? Because he is not going to step down, at least it doesn't seem so. He is the sitting president. So how do you see this playing out?
Well, he has a habit of doubling down on his position, however incomprehensible it is. He's facing it head on. That means that he will deal with the investigations that are going on.
Yes.
Initially, there was some flurry of activities from all the investigative agencies in Korea, but I understand that there was some consolidation.
Yes.
In terms of coordinating their investigative activities between the police, the CIO, and the military. The prosecutor's office is a little bit excluded at this point for some conflict of interest reasons, but I'm sure they will come up with some kind of arrangement. I think what the president is trying to do is to defend himself in the context of what kind of documents or what kind of evidence can be brought to the constitutional office.
I see.
Why, again, the intent is one of the elements. That's why I think it's part of the purpose of his intention putting out there through the press conference is that, well, there was no violence in my intent. The intent was to just scare them. Evidence, popping up otherwise. I think he's trying to do that. But at the same time, I think he's a little bit banking on the dysfunctionality of Constitutional Court, them having only 6 justices.
Sure. Yes.
And 6 is a minimum number of the yay votes they need to go forward with the impeachment and making a decision. So I think that's something that he's banking on at this point. Not a good idea to say that, as a president, I'm just looking at the technicality and see if I can get a win out of it. That's not very presidential at all.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for taking us through the legal path of what may come about. But thank you so much for joining us today, Professor. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This is Professor Song Se-ryun, and we talked about the latest in light of President Yoon speaking yesterday about the charges. In the meantime, though, I will be back with our second special interview.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
Well, the digital world is abuzz with significant shifts as Blue Sky, which is a decentralized social media platform. So we're talking about 탈중앙화 social media, surges in popularity while, for example, Elon Musk's X struggles to retain users with over 2.5 million users or new users in just 2 months. Blue Sky is being described as a promising alternative thanks to its focus on healthier online environments. So let's find out more about this because there's a lot going on, with the ban of TikTok. That's another layer that the U.S. has added to the mix. We have on the airwaves with us Professor Andrew Selapak, who's an associate instructional professor in the Department of Media Production, Management, and Technology at the University of Florida. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so this new platform, Blue Sky, can you explain what this is, who created it, and why it might be different from platforms such as X, formerly known as Twitter?
Well, Blue Sky came about through Jack Dorsey, who was one of the creators of Twitter, now X. If you go back to early interviews with Jack Dorsey, he was very much social media should be this place to bring people together. It should be open source. It wasn't about money or profits for him. And as Twitter became more of that, you had Dorsey kind of pushing this sort of Blue Sky initiative, which was going to be something different in what we see as social media now, of much more open source, much more available for sort of customization on the part of users, and not this thing about generating profit. However, Jack Dorsey has since left Blue Sky after it separated from Twitter, Elon Musk's X, because he can kind of, I think, see the writing on the wall and see where Blue Sky will eventually have to become, if it should become successful, about profit and about money, which was not, again, his original intention for the platform or for Twitter.
I see. Thanks for explaining that. Well, there are many people, including well-known figures, who seem to be leaving X for Blue Sky. Why do you think that some users are switching to this alternative platform?
Well, I think there's a bit of an exaggeration when it comes to this. There have been some high-profile people who have said they are leaving X and going to Blue Sky, Don Lemon being one. There's been lots of threats from a lot of celebrities that they're going to leave X. There have also been lots of celebrities who said they're going to leave the United States now that Donald Trump has been elected. To some extent, neither one has really happened.
I see.
One of the reasons for it, though, is just Elon Musk's involvement in electing Donald Trump, being one of the largest contributors. He's now the moniker that's kind of being tossed around is, you have the wife of the president as the first lady. Elon Musk is kind of given the moniker of first buddy. And I think there's just sort of an idea that they don't want to be associated with Elon Musk. The other and probably the most important thing is that if you look pre-Elon Musk Twitter, the users on there, the content that people were seeing, it was about 65-35 leaning left than leaning right. It's much more balanced now, and a lot of people simply don't want to be exposed to new ideas and new views, and they want to sit in an echo chamber, they want to sit in a filter bubble, and they're escaping to Blue Sky, hoping that's what that platform will be.
I see. Well, I can see why some people are switching, and as you say, maybe not as many as some news articles make it seem like. But I also want to address the issue. Do you think that Blue Sky, though, can really take on big platforms like X? I mean, because X, whether you like it or not, it's still very much influential when it comes to social media and platforms, right?
Well, I mean, X has gone through a lot since Musk has taken it over, but it had a huge bump on election day, post-election day. One of the things that Musk is kind of doing with it is, in the previous hour I was listening, you talked about Elon Musk's wealth now. Elon Musk, X is not his most important thing. Musk wants to get to Mars. Mars is his goal. X kind of ranks third at best on his list because it's SpaceX, it's Tesla, then it's this social media platform. What he said his goal for it was for it to be a public sphere, to be the promotion of freedom of expression, the marketplace of ideas. And from that respect, profitability and everything else is not necessarily the big driving force. Obviously, he spent a lot of money and he wants it to be profitable, but that's not where Musk's priority is. So from that perspective, I think Musk is fine with it losing some revenue or it losing some users. On the flip side, you have lots of alternatives.
Yes.
You've had Threads through Meta, that's basically failed. You've had Mastodon, nobody uses it. Parler, which has gone away, Truth Social, which is the Donald Trump microblogging site, which has a limited number of users. You're trying to basically build a better mousetrap, and you already have a very good mousetrap that exists. So it's sort of an unnecessary platform within the environment. And it's either going to become a failure or it's going to become just a very niche echo chamber of people with left-leaning views, in which case it doesn't have much use or prominence from a large-scale perspective.
Very interesting the way you explained it to us. So thank you for that. But let's also talk about TikTok. TikTok, it's been headlining for several months. We've been talking about it too here on our program. That, basically the U.S. or the government wants to ban TikTok because of national security concerns. And so it looks like it's going to actually be happening, that it's going to be implemented. Is that true?
Well, there's a lot of yes, but or yes, maybe aspects to the story. TikTok wants this to be reviewed by the Supreme Court. We'll have to see if the Supreme Court agrees to do a sort of an expedited review before January 19th. If you do have the Supreme Court that reviews it, will they side with TikTok in this case? I'm not a legal scholar, but I think looking at the sort of the court leaning more conservative, they probably would not do any kind of hold or prevention of it from being banned.
Yes.
You have the Joe Biden administration, which can put a 90-day hold, a one-time 90-day hold on this January 19th ban. Doesn't seem the Biden administration is active in much at the moment, much less looking at TikTok with so many other bigger issues going on in the world. And then Donald Trump doesn't actually get inaugurated until the day after TikTok would need to be banned or divested. So the Trump administration really has nothing that they can do from an executive position. So yes, it looks like January 19th could be the last day of TikTok as it currently exists. However, all that being said,
yes,
January 20th, TikTok doesn't go away. It just means that as of January 20th, the Department of Justice can go after Apple or Google for hosting it in their app stores.
I see.
But the app doesn't get deleted. It just means that if it's no longer in the app stores, the app wouldn't get updated or bugs wouldn't be fixed. But an individual can still have it. And, I'm sure you're very aware, like VPNs, you can get around, where your location is and continue to use any app that you want. So there's been an over-exaggeration that somehow January 20th, TikTok will now be erased off your phones. It'll be deleted. You'll be thrown in jail if you try to use it. Very little changes January 20th.
That's the real take. Thank you for breaking it down for us. So when we look at, platforms, whether it be Blue Sky and TikTok, also in the foray, what do you see on the horizon for the near future and maybe even longer, the future of social media? What would you say?
Not much is going to change. One of the things is that these platforms and apps really haven't been around that long.
Yes.
Facebook's in its 20th anniversary, and you go back 20 years, it was only available at Harvard. LinkedIn is the oldest of the platforms that we use regularly, and most people don't even use it that regularly. So not much is going to change, I don't think. What has been probably most surprising, because we're having a conversation about both Blue Sky and TikTok,
yes,
is that we've had so many alternatives to X being made. Again, Parler, True Social, Threads, Blue Sky, Mastodon. Yet there hasn't been a real alternative to TikTok having been made. Now, in China, I'm sure you're aware, they don't have TikTok either. They have their own version.
Yes.
India has banned TikTok. They have their own versions. But at least within the U.S. market, there hasn't been a competitor to TikTok. And this is despite the fact, again, if we circle back to a number of our conversations, Vine is sort of, at least in the United States, Vine is the sort of originator of these short form videos, and that's owned by X. And X could come out with a new Vine on January 19th or January 20th and completely change everything we've just talked about and make a lot of it sort of like, oh, well, none of that matters anymore. So I really, the biggest surprise and maybe change I think we should look for is, will there be an alternative that's used for TikTok?
Yes.
And also a question of why hasn't anyone seen this writing on the wall and done that already? Again, there is a Chinese version of TikTok. They don't have TikTok there, just like they don't have most of the social media we would talk about.
Sure.
It's banned in India. Other countries have attempted to potentially ban TikTok. But in terms of this video-only platform that's algorithm-based and obviously very addictive, there is no alternative. It's not Instagram. It's not anything else.
Yes.
I think the question people should ask is why?
That is a good question, and we're going to end it on that note. Leave food for thought for our listeners out there, but thank you so much for coming on the air with us today, Professor. We appreciate your expertise and opinions. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Professor Andrew Selapak from the University of Florida talking about Blue Sky and TikTok, plus, of course, the future of social media. Okay, I'm trying to do my Valley Girl accent because somebody asked me to. We're talking about accents and dialects, right? So like, oh my God. Like, gag me with a spoon. Like, really?
Gag me with a spoon?
Yeah, gag me with a spoon.
What have you been watching?
This is like, okay, so the Valley Girl accent thing, it originated from San Fernando, the San Fernando Valley. That's like in Southern California. And it was a real thing like during the 1980s, early 90s. If you lived in that area, there was kind of this like real big stereotype. Not everybody that lived in that area that spoke like I just said right now. However, it kind of caught on. It's like a cult kind of phenomenon, this whole concept of Valley Girl. So there you have it. Well, how are you? Stop laughing. Stop laughing. I do it for our listeners. They request I do. Yes.
Do you have 애교?
Oh, 저 애교 엄청 많아요. But it depends on for whom or with whom.
Okay, imagine your husband?
Oh, Vasana, do you have 애교? Oh, to my roommate? When I need something, yes, I do.
Yeah.
So do you? Let's see your 애교.
I have none.
I have none. Zero. Zip.
Well, I have some, but I just put it on just for humor purposes.
I've seen you on stage trying to act cute. Remember the BFM speech
yeah, but
contest?
as I said, that's for kids. It's
it's
not for it's not
we
romantic.
get no 애교 from Vasana. No love.
No romance. I gave you my 애교 a couple of weeks ago.
That was not 애교. that was pure comedy.
이쁜지.
안 예뻐. 안 예뻐요. Okay. So what are we covering today? What are we covering today?
We've got mishaps, language, and dance, if we have time.
Are you going to do it? Are you going to dance?
Well, I think we both know the dance, so we're both going to do it.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
Okay, so the first one. So I've got a picture here. So picture this scene. A man and a woman posing for engagement photos in a beautiful park. When the woman noticed something on her fiancé's pants. And so being the caring fiancé she went to brush it off, only to accidentally brush her diamond ring right off her finger.
How big was the ring?
And into a nearby sewer drain. Oh, hang on. Is this microphone at the right height?
Yes. Oh,
hello.
Oh, that's Haley height. Sorry. And Sue. And
I love you, Haley.
Yeah.
I love you, Sue.
Right. So the ring was too big, I'm assuming.
So this, the ring was a little bit too big. I was going to bring my wedding ring in this morning, but I may have, my wife might be watching, I may have lost my ring before.
You lost your wedding ring?
Because when I got married, I was a little bit heavier than I am now.
Right.
So I was like 40, 50 kilograms heavier than I am now. And so the ring then
was now too big for you.
Now it's rather, a little bit too big. So I went swimming one time.
And you lost your ring. Did she know?
No, I found it. But I said kind of.
Kind of?
I went swimming around the pool looking for it. It was on the pool floor. Yeah, I got my exercise that day.
Yeah, looking for that ring because, you don't want to be in the doghouse for like 10 years.
And the moral of the story is?
Size your ring.
Yeah, or resize your ring. But
Yes.
I didn't want to do mine. I'm not going to resize my ring because it's gold. And so if you resize it down, you're
Yes.
going to lose gold, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So next story about
Yes, next.
chocolate.
Chocolate. What do we have?
California drivers, as you know, are used to traffic jams. So how about a chocolate jam?
Chocolate jam?
Chocolate jam, that's right. A westbound Interstate 580 turned into a dessert disaster this week when a truck carrying more than 30,000 pounds.
30,000
Not 30
pounds.
30,000.
Okay.
We eat 30 pounds of chocolate in a week. 30,000.
What's 30 pounds? That's
Yeah,
nothing.
nothing.
Yes.
30,000 pounds of chocolate caught fire and turned the highway into a scene straight out of Willy Wonka's worst nightmare.
Like, even if we divide that by half to get to the kilos, it's like 15,000 kilograms of chocolate.
Yeah, it's 15
A free
tons.
for all,
15
just like
tons.
swimming in chocolate. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So the culprit behind this coca...
Is that the photo?
Yeah, that's a photo.
Oh, no.
You can guess what all that brown stuff is.
I hope it's chocolate because otherwise it looks like manure.
the driver
Yes.
having So the culprit behind this cocoa catastrophe,
Yes.
a mechanical issue.
I love...
Yeah, a lot of alliterations
Yeah,
and dad jokes
love
with
it.
me.
Yes.
Okay. Mechanical issue with the truck's brakes. So the brake, maybe some chocolate got on the brakes.
Oh, but I hope the driver is okay.
Yeah,
as long as he's okay.
fine. He's fine.
Yeah, that's a lot of chocolate, though.
So next time you're stuck in traffic,
Yes.
remember it could be worse, or is it better?
I don't know.
You could be stuck in chocolate.
As long as I'm not stuck on Interstate 5 or the 101 in California,
God.
I'm fine.
I
Okay.
don't even want to imagine
Yes,
it.
or the PCH.
Okay, next
One.
story.
Okay, next.
Board games.
I love board games.
What's your favorite?
Oh my gosh, we can't say them on air. They're
what?
brands.
Oh, the brands.
Like I love UmiCube.
Okay, whatever that is. Okay.
UmiCube, you know the number, you know.
There's a letter in front of that.
Yeah, the
okay, I've got it.
UmiCube.
Okay.
Love that game.
Okay. So I'm allowed to say this one because I'm reporting on it.
You're reporting, yes.
So the Scrabble Championships were held recently.
That one I loved, and
Yeah.
I was like, can I say Crabble? I love that. I'm the champion of my house.
Well, it's much better than gagging you with a spoon. But anyway,
Yes.
believe it or not, they have world championships for this game. And one of the top players, in fact, probably the GOAT of this game, is a Kiwi called Nigel Richards.
Oh, why?
I'm sure
Why is
our
he
listeners,
the king?
Our listeners know what Kiwis are, right?
We're not talking about fruit.
No, okay.
Okay, so what about this Kiwi, Nigel Richards?
So he has won over 200 tournaments in his lifetime. So with first prize for the big tournaments being at least $10,000.
Oh.
He's made a living from it.
So he's a professional Scrabble player?
Professional Scrabble player.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
like, I'm so jealous.
I didn't know about it. If I'd known about that, I probably would have
like studied up and that's a real job.
I still play that every day. Anyway.
Every day?
So some of his every day. Some of his achievements: 5-time US Scrabble champion, 8-time UK Open champion, 11-time Singapore Open champion,
Oh my
and the
gosh.
biggest one in Bangkok, the 15-time winner of the King's Cup.
Wow.
However, the WTW this week for him is that he has just won
Yes.
the Spanish version of Scrabble.
Oh.
And he cannot speak Spanish.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. So
See?
I was wondering about this because Koreans are always memorizing words.
like
Yeah. So I was wondering if there's someone out there that loves memorizing words, because this is all he's done.
Yes.
He's just memorized words. On top of that, he's also won the French Scrabble Championship in the past.
Parlez-vous,
And he-
Francois?
no, parlez-vous?
Like no.
No.
I don't even know how to say no in French. 피디님, French로 no 하면 뭐예요?
No. Non.
Non.
N-O-N, but
No.
I don't know how to
N-O-N,
pronounce that.
no. No. Like no up, no.
I'm going to gag you with a spoon in a minute. Anyway, finally.
Don't gag me with a spoon. It's your Ajin vibes that
I
are
think I'm
rubbing off
starting
on
to
me.
understand what that meet means now, gagging
Yes.
somebody with a spoon. I was
Yes.
never
Now you
heard
get
that
it.
before.
Right.
Okay, so finally we're getting down to business here.
Okay.
So finally,
Dance.
it's Christmas season, dance.
Yes.
So at this time of year, Christmas songs.
Yes.
You know, the Mariah Carey songs and all those.
All the good Christmas songs.
Yeah, trimming the days. But there is a lovely Christmas show. I wonder if our PD team has got this queued up. Okay, this is the best Christmas song.
Are we going to go?
Yes, have a listen.
Let's try to remember. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Ready? Are you? Go.
I can't hear it.
Oh, you don't hear the music.
Okay, you'll have to do it.
Okay, ready? Go. And then, what is it? I don't remember. Oh, you practiced. I don't remember. It's been ages.
Practice. I've been doing this since it came out in the 90s. My goodness.
I was watching Persona for cues.
Down, up, hands up.
And then
your
shoulder,
your
is
arms.
It arms? Is it
and
arms?
your ears.
Ears. And then
your hips.
Okay. And
then your butt.
Okay. Oh,
and then you do whatever
shake.
you want.
You do. Oh,
and then you
love
jump
it.
45 degrees to the next and do it all over again.
It's been ages.
But I did it so many times that
Right. Why are we talking about Macarena again?
I've done it so anyway. Okay, so a town in Pennsylvania has turned their holiday parade into a Guinness World Record attempt at breaking the amount of people doing the Macarena dance at one time.
Together?
Oh. So they have to, unlike stadiums around the world, which have had 7,000, 10,000 people, and you know, the band tries to get them. This one, they have to be in a row so that the Guinness World Book of Records people can count them. And they had drones flying over so they
Oh my gosh. Look.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, this is the current attempt.
This is the current attempt.
Sorry, this is the current world record. So this is the one that was done in
They look
England.
like school children.
They were school children, some of it. So that was 2,219 people.
Wow.
So the one in Pennsylvania was they still counting it. So
they're still counting.
So
I think we could
it was
beat
done this
2,219.
I'm sure we can.
Yeah. So if we had all our listeners do it together, but we have to be in one spot, so I don't know how they're going to count that.
Well, yeah.
Well, we're going to call it a wrap. We have to.
Let's put gag me with a spoon.
Yes, like gag me with a spoon. Like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yes, you got to do it with a,
oh my God.
Yes, with pizzazz. We're going to call it a wrap on your segment. So thank you, Vasana. We'll check in with you next week.
Thank you.
Well, it's time to wrap up for today, the entire week. And hopefully you'll have a wonderful weekend. Final song for today, the entire week, 팔도 강산 by BTS. Bye, everybody.
충청도부터 전라도 우리가 와글다고 전화란게 우리 먼저 보러 허벌나게 아재들 안녕하십니까 내가 먹고양이 대구 아닙니까 극해서 오늘은 살들이 랩으로 무시마 가시나 신경 쓰지 말고 한번 날아봅시다 여러분 모두 안녕들 하셨지라 오메 보쇼 요물댐 실내 파긋띠야 아재 아짐 들도 거가 박혀있지 말고 나와서 즐겨라 싹다 잡아볼 자걸 갱상도 카모 신라의 화랑 우예들이 계속해서 자라나고 사투리 하모 갱상도 알가 우수하고 정경계 딱 우리 그거 우리도 이 땅께 모전 묵었단까 요 비빔밥이 갑이란께 아직 시부리장 세 발에 피니께 좀 따벼 개안하게 풀어보라니까 가가 이런 말은 하나 갱상도 늑시다고 누가 극하노 뭐라 했었노 갱상도 정하면 안아받아 같은 거지 뭐 니가 집중해서 한번 봐라 됐다 마 대구 무슨 말 했어 두 말 안 한다 카이 하모 갱상도 찍힌다 아인겨 아주라 뭐 우리가 어디 시험인겨 어찌하스까 전라도 시우린 땜시 아구지 막혀버렸어야 흑산도 홍어코 한방 잡수면 된디 온몸 군형이랑 군형은 막 다 돌리던디 그 시기 뭐 시기 괜찮겠어 아직 8, 9월 풍월 다 해가졌어 무등산 수박 크기 20kg 장사여 겉만 봐도 딱 가시네 우리 방탄여 서강원부터 경상도 충청도부터 전라도 뭐라 카노 뭐라 카노 서강원부터 경상도 충청도부터 전라도 우리가 와볼다고 전화란게 우리 먼저 보러 허벌나게 기아가 좀 설치
솔직히 한번 생각해봤는데 경상도 남자가 좀 잘생긴 것 같다.
아니에요.